gremlin on the road.
Right, so if you remember George Goodhue, the filthy rich speculator, this was the house of his son, Charles, named after Papa's house across the town in Bathurst, which sadly did not survive. As historicplaces.ca puts it, Charles was instrumental to the London Club and enjoyed membership with several Masonic lodges. This is a polite way of saying that Charlie was a good-for-nothing and he could only spend Papa's money. So once he did get his hands on the inheritance, he spent it on this house, in addition to horses and women, of course. Although, I don't know, I haven't been able to find out much about him, so maybe he was actually a decent man. This, West South London, is where the creme de la creme of the local society settled, the equivalent of Montreal's Golden Mile. That is because by then the city centre became crowded and dirty and smelly and noisy, and here the plots were large and also taxes were much lower because technically this wasn't part of the city, and trust me, property taxes then as now are an issue in Canada. So here you could live the life. And live the life Charlie Goodhue did, to the extent that his daughter then had to sell the property to a man called Smallman.
Smallman was no small man at all. He was a founding member of Imperial Oil, one of the first erectors of London Life Insurance, today Canada Life, and you've seen the building in the previous video.
By the by, that Smallman's brother, also a Smallman, was the owner of London's most famous department store, which was in the still standing building today called the Market Tower. But that was before the First World War. And eventually the Smallman family didn't make it past the newly introduced PIT and the inheritance taxes, and they also had to sell. Which is how Waverley's next incarnation was as a medical institution. Well, medical or not, jury's still out on that one. It was called the Shute Institute. And here, from late 1940s all the way through the 1970s, Dr. Iwan Shute cured people with large doses of vitamin E. Started off with cardiac issues, but eventually claimed that most things could just be cured with overdosing vitamin E. These claims were not borne by any of third-party clinical tests, but he still, if you look online, he still has sworn supporters today.
So how did he invent it? Did he take somebody's heart?
And not without a good cause. It's all in the family. This was the house of Mary Goodhue Cronin, Charlie Goodhue's sister, and the architect was a brother-in-law to both of them. Like, Mary may have been sensible, but I guess she wasn't raised to be a businesswoman. And she married the son of Bishop Cronin, if you remember the plaque on St. Paul's Cathedral in the previous video. And I don't know, her husband was a lawyer and the mayor of the city. They inherited a lot of money from George Goodhue, and he lost all of it. Which is why Oakwood remained a family home for a very short time, then had a career as a Baptist church and offices, and obviously is now being redone again into something else. Okay, so Bunting actually only lived in this house for about a year before he moved on to Toronto, where he was offered much better conditions to pursue his research. But this is the house where he happened to wake up and experience his eureka moment. I mean, how is it? You open your eyes, you see spot remarks, and you think, hey, buddy, if I rip out your pancreas or another internal organ and boil it, this will cure people of diabetes. I mean, wow, brain works in mysterious ways. Let's go cat over the door. Cool.
Local constable.
Now where's the central where the people stay overnight for the year?
Halls of residence.
That's probably where.
And so it's time for the long-awaited room review. We're staying at Hampton's Inn by Hilton in London. Link to the hotel in the description.
something else.
Okay, don't forget what?
The pancake syrup.
Paintings here.
Pancake.
A pancake. That's mostly in North America. It's roomy. On the plus side, microwave, TV with a decent selection of channels, fridge, some storage space. Closet with the ironing board and the iron included. I swear one of these days I'm going to bring something and actually iron it. Bathrooms are right, large and clean. Hair dryer included. And so this is it for this trip, and next week we'll be back in sunny and hot summer Montreal to see the Golden Mile.